Hello and welcome back to Now I See on CYC. Today we'll be continuing with our guest today, Stephen. Welcome back, Stephen.
Good to be here.
So in the last episode, you mentioned about you exploring theology. Tell me why it's so important to you.
So many Christians really just look at the Bible by itself. And the Bible is very important. It's undeniably important towards Christian life, but it doesn't answer everything, admittedly. It was a problem that I had when I was a Catholic. You start to ask yourself the question, why is the Bible important? And the answer isn't in the Bible, it's in theology. And what I came to understand is that theology answers a lot of questions that are left unanswered. And you can find theology in the sayings of older saints and that sort of thing. And so theology is essentially, for those who don't know anything about it, I'm just going to keep using this word. Theology is the logic behind the church, behind our religion, behind Christianity. And it really is how everything makes sense and how it all fits together. And so with what I discovered was that it answered a lot of questions, especially in regards to heaven and hell, about salvation, that sort of thing. And yeah, I can't say more than that. We're going to get too complicated. I mean, how much time do you have? But yeah, it answers a lot of questions. That's why theology is important.
Okay, can you give us an example of a theological idea?
So one of the theological ideas is called the Trinitarian Doctrine, and it basically underlies why we believe in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Because when you read the Bible, it's a little bit confusing. Like, why are these three aspects God? When we see Jesus in the Bible praying to the Father, like, what does this imply? And to a lot of Christians who don't have a lot of theological knowledge, they really struggle with this, and they stop, and some stop to pray with in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. But the Trinitarian Doctrine basically explains why we pray that these three entities are the one God. And so, yeah.
So how did your theological knowledge revive your faith?
So like I said before, there are a lot of questions that go unanswered on the Bible alone. And these questions can lead us to doubt, and to doubt the validity of God and what He's saying, what He's trying to communicate to us. And doubt is a good thing for us Christians because it's what we use to basically strengthen our faith. As we go through periods of doubt, we learn, we come out stronger. But there is no use, there's no useful in being in doubt when you don't have any answers, any reassurance. And so that's why I find theology to be especially beautiful. It can answer these questions. It can bring us back on the path. And so we stop dwelling on these questions and thinking that God doesn't make any sense. And it really just puts us back on track.
Well, you sound like you're really, really interested in theology. Would you ever consider deepening your knowledge and attending a theological college?
So it was a thing that I considered, going to get a degree in theology. Too young at the moment. I don't think I have the time for it right now, but it's something I'd like to do.
So what are the differences, in your opinion, between the Coptic and the Western churches?
So from my perspective, it seems to me that the West is very political. It's invested in a lot of social issues of our time, being very invested in trying to bring about Christian values and Christian living in our day-to-day lives, which is a good thing because the Western churches are very proactive in environmentalism, rights for indigenous peoples, and a lot of poverty issues. And the West does a lot of charity work. In my perspective, the Eastern churches, in particular the Coptic Church, seems to be more focused on the idea of love. So from my perspective, the Western Church likes to focus on trying to maximize goodness and work on social justice issues and reform society so that we can all live a life of peace, that sort of thing. But there's a very spiritual aspect in the Coptic and Eastern Church, one that looks towards the relationship that you build with God and Christ. And I think this version of spiritualism that they have is something that appeals to me. And this is my personal preference, of course. There will obviously be others who see a lot of spiritual value in a lot of Western churches, but this is my opinion, and this is what I have found.
So unfortunately we have run out of time today, but thank you so much for your time. Please tune into our next episode of Now I See on CYC to hear the rest of Stephen's story. Until then, I'm Anna Choi. God bless.